What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 74 of the Trainer Scoop podcast. Banger of a podcast ahead for you today. I was able to bring back Mr. Shimmy Hacker for a part two on the podcast. Shimmy is just a really infectious guy with his personality. Talking to him is always a great time, and there's always some insights to be gained. You should be following Shimmy on social media if you're not already. He produces content that is great in terms of tips for hypertrophy and nutrition. Definitely go give Shimmy a follow on Instagram. In this conversation, we got into balancing life with progression in the gym. We talked a little bit about the importance of maintenance phases in training. And then we got into some hip hop music talk. I think Shimmy's taste in music is great as well. So I hope you enjoy the discussion. When Shimmy and I first hopped on this call, I really appreciated that he asked about how I was doing, how my business was going. Just goes to show kind of how good of like a mentor Shimmy is as well. So that's the tail end of the conversation that you're hearing as we're starting out. Before we get into it though, be sure hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, leave me a positive review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Appreciate you guys. Let's get into it.
My following is not anything that's like a full-time management just yet. And I'm also not really monetizing my following very much. Like I have some online coaching and some consults and stuff, but like that's kind of where it ends. Now, I have a lot of other things in the works, both things that are in the works and just things that I have in my mind that I would like to do. So maybe in the future it will demand a lot more of my time and be generating a lot more revenue. But for now, it's really just about building an ethos and building genuine engagement and building a following and providing the value and just showing who I am. And then eventually I think things will pop off, and then I'm prepared when they do pop off, what I'm going to do, like what lever I'm going to pull. But to the point that you mentioned, I think that the issue that a lot of people have is that they don't have an exit strategy. They didn't sign the prenup when they got married to the weights. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't blame most people. Most people don't go into training obsessing about it and thinking, what am I going to do afterwards? But I think if someone's been lifting for a really long time and they know that, or they're starting to get this feeling in their gut, like I'm getting close to everything that I'm going to get. And that's usually rubber to the road, defined as somebody's checking every single box from their macros, their training, to their sleep, to their fatigue management, their everything, massing, cutting, maintenance, whatever, and everything is their version of perfect or 90%, and they gain like 3 pounds of muscle for all that effort, or 2 pounds of muscle as an example. You do that enough times in a row, and then you say to yourself, yeah, I love the process, I love the journey, but all of this for just that. It was cool, when I started training, it was cool 5 years in, it was cool 8 years in, but now it's like I'm always sore and I'm always tired, and I'm in the gym 10 hours a week and I'm watching videos, and maybe people that are super into it, I'm reading research and whatever, and for 3 pounds of muscle, nobody even sees that except me when I'm naked, right? Like, what for what? So I understand. And I think that it would do well for people to maybe have some hobbies outside of fitness, or some other skills that they want to get good at in life, whether it's learning an instrument, maybe learning a different dance, picking up a different activity, maybe picking up an old sport, learning multiple languages. Who knows, whatever somebody's into. But I think it probably makes sense to do that, to have some thoughts in your mind, at least starting to germinate, thinking of things that bring you the same or similar kind of joy as fitness does. And it's not easy. Most of us, the whole process is just something that you can't even put into words how much you love it. And the thought of finding something comparable to give that same amount of joy is almost, you can't fathom it. You say, I can't, but there's the world is huge and life is long, and there's a lot of things that you can do that can, bring you that kind of joy. And so I think it would make sense to try to find some things outside of fitness that also bring that joy.
Yeah, dude, I think you are so good at this. Like the way that your maturity towards like your frequency in the gym, and like when you know when to take maintenance phases, I'm sure like that has some type of deeper like strategic design. It's like, do you like leverage that to kind of like refresh and catch up on other things in life, while you're also like potentiating better training? Is that like the rationale?
I'll tell you what it is, and it's quite funny because of course I surround myself, at least in social media or in my smaller social circle, of people who are really serious about training, right? Whether it's Trevor, Dylan, Mike, Jared, whoever, and a lot of these people, it's their career and they're so serious about it. And for me, I don't have the same outlook. Like the output or the engagement or the way I communicate is the same, but a lot of the issues, and I'm not saying that any of those people have issues, but a lot of like the issues that people have or what gravitate them towards the weights, I just don't have. I don't have those
Mm.
body insecurities. I'm not addicted to training. If I don't train for a week, I'm not going insane. You know what I mean? When I get a shirt splitting pump, I'm not like, this is the greatest thing on earth. I'm like, it's cool. You know what I mean? And of course, I understand where they're coming from. I can empathize with it, and I've had feelings like it, but never to the intensity that these people have. I never had issues where, oh, I'm not comfortable with what my body looks like, and I have to train and I have to get a pump and I don't feel good. I've never been like that. For me, it's just one of those things where a lot of my friends weren't doing what I was doing. So it was nice to do something that a lot of my friends weren't doing, and it was my thing. And then eventually just getting good at that. And then eventually I just identify with who that person is, and you just continue to learn and refine and perfect that being of who you are. So it's just like the pursuit of the mastery of constantly learning, and something that you're so good at relative to everything else that you're doing in life. It's just like, I just want to continue on with that. So maybe I'm better at compartmentalizing and looking at the big picture, because I just don't maybe have those some of the deep-seated issues that a lot of other people might have, which makes them gravitate towards the training process. I don't know. I also have a lot of friends that don't really do fitness shit. So, whenever they look at my page, like, oh wow, he's wearing a shirt. I'm like, really? Do I really have so many shirtless photos? Like, relatively speaking, not really, but you know what I mean? Like, that's how they see it. Or they're like, oh, you're like, oh, whatever, another post with like weights, huh? Nice. When are you gonna like give that up? Like, still now, right? Like, whatever, how long ever it's been. I'm not mad at it. I get where they're coming from. You know what I mean? But it's even now, give two fucks. Or on the opposite, not only do they not give two fucks, they think it's fucking stupid. So it's like, you know what I mean? It keeps you humble, is what I'm saying. So I'm always usually able to have like a 360 view of what's going on. So maybe that's why.
Dude, very interesting perspective there. I wonder how many people that are as serious as you and some of those other individuals you mentioned, like you're probably in the far minority just thinking about it. Like of
I think so. I definitely think so. From the more people that I meet that are entrenched in the space like I am, yeah.
like just from seeing their posts, you can kind of see it in some people. It's like, oh fuck, like interesting. The way you talk to yourself through these posts it definitely shines through. But I was there at one point, bad, like crazy bad, there with the worst of them. Like pretty much, I'll say the relationship was doomed anyways. But like I didn't give a fuck. Like the fitness came first, baby. Like, oh, you want me to be there opening presents with the family on Christmas? Hold up, I'm about to go to Powerhouse and get this quick pump in.
Right.
Crazy
Right.
looking back on it. I've gotten much better. Like today, I was like, honestly, I dead ass. I thought this. I was like, I wonder what Shimmy would do in this situation. So I'm like, I dead ass thought that. I'm kind of sick, a little getting over a cold that's like also a bad cough. And last week I had this sickness, and I was like, I'm just gonna keep training. And then it came back. It like kind of went away over the weekend. I was like, good, I beat that, and I was still able to train. This week it's back with a vengeance, man. So I'm taking time off the gym. I'm like, what would Shimmy do here? Oh, the smart thing. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny. That kind of stuff is not worth it. And you know what's funny? I was telling Trevor this and Dylan on a podcast that will come out at some point. You're an online coach. If you were your client and they told you that, what would you tell them?
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't tell them. Just do it. You'd tell them, hey man, life is long. You got many weeks and months and years of training. Are you really gonna remember this next week that you take off? No. But I mean, you might as well. I think we get so caught up in these like the day-to-day stuff. It's like, man, there's so much training ahead. That's why there's such value in thinking of training in terms of mesocycles or even macrocycles instead of the day-to-day. It's like, if I know that I have a 5-week training block 5 weeks. What do I care if I miss 1 day? Or like, ooh, 3 days. Or, oh, after my first week, I got sick. So I just restart. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I care. And to the opposite point, I had a question like this last night where someone was like, oh, I'm starting, or I'm finding that I'm after 4 weeks of hard training, I'm not able to match performance. Like, what should I do? I'm like, you just had 4 weeks of hard training, just deload and then do it again. Who cares? I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. This take is a very hard, like, it's a hesitant take to put out on social, especially now as like my following starts to grow and like more influence, if you will. The take of like, what's the big deal? This doesn't work for beginners. So for people that are super into it, it's always like, it's a big deal. Like, don't do it. Who cares? You're gonna train tomorrow. You're gonna train next week, and you're gonna train hard. And you're gonna train harder, knowing that you're more recovered. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's so much sexier and it's so much more popular to be like, do it, brave through the pain. There's blood in the water. Drink it. Why? Shit's nasty. Like,
Don't drink
no,
that.
no, it's a first plague for a reason. No.
Dude, I'm dead.
Yeah.
I wanna hit back on your social media game lately. Man, I wish I would have talked about, or I wish I would have like known how many followers you had a year ago. Do you have any idea of that metric?
Yeah, like 1,000.
No shit.
Hmm.
Oh fuck, dude. That's big. Okay. So you're almost at 10,000 now, right?
Yeah, so I'll tell you something that I learned about social media, and I knew it intuitively before anything happened, but now that it happened to me, I know that it's just how it goes. I want social media to be like my training. Every week, I just put a little bit more weight on the bar. Maybe I add a rep, maybe I don't. Every week, it's just consistent, it's normal. Social media not like that, okay? You don't go anywhere, seemingly. You're posting every day. You're like, what the fuck? I suck. This is bullshit. Everyone's telling me I'm great and everyone's loving my shit, but like nothing's happening. Or it's like the same 5 people that are writing to me. And it's like, I'm so happy that I'm nurturing you 5, but like, I didn't do this for you 5. I'm trying to, right? I'm trying to grow. And then you wake up and you're like, oh my God, you picked up like 5K overnight. And it, as an example, right? Like, that's just how this stuff goes. Like, you don't gain any followers or you lose followers. Slow, slow, slow. And then all of a sudden it's like bam, bam. You get these like big jumps up, seemingly out of nowhere. When Mike posted about me the first time, my following 7x'd overnight. No,
Yeah.
no, no, not overnight, but in like 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I went from 1,200 to 8,500 in 2 weeks.
Damn.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Um, but I'm saying like, and I know because also for my furniture business, like we have our following is not big. We have like 5,200 followers or something, but we had barely any. And then a big influencer who we were working with posted about us and we gained like 3K in like 5 days.
Bro,
And I know that like that's how this stuff is. That's why we always talk about, or you always hear about collaboration, because you never know. It's cool to hit a viral video, absolutely. And obviously like, you get it however you can get it. But I don't know. Like I know some accounts, friends of mine, who they just like it's steady Eddie. It's like 25 followers a day or 100 followers a week or something like that. And it's steady and it's bop, 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 bop. Maybe they have a little run up, but like it's steady. And for me, that's just not been my experience. But I think there's also something to be said for keeping what you have. Like if you have a big, big run up, sometimes you see like grand opening, grand closing, right? And you see there's like a ton of followers that come, but then as fast as they came, as fast as they go. I know a lot of people don't unfollow, like that's not human behavior, like, but it does happen. So there's something to be said for if you do have a lot of new followers and maybe someone's on here who does and they're getting discouraged, why am I not growing or da da da? Nurture the following that you do have, engage them and be happy and keep them there, you know? So
dude,
yeah.
if you need help getting to that smooth 10K with the furniture business, I say let's talk. We develop a smear campaign on Wayfair to even further exploit their child trafficking. And
Yeah.
have, like,
Yeah. I mean, our furniture business actually doesn't seem to do much from Instagram. You know, that's just like another way for people to just see our furniture in like real time with like nice photos. But no, most of our marketing is done through typical media buying, you know, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, and Google SEO, and the boring stuff that you see in the shadows, not the stuff that is like, ooh, yeah, look at my account.
Yeah. But I mean, man, have you ever seen those like certain fast food chains be talking shit on social media, like Wendy's? They'll just be talking shit. Maybe you could transform your page into that.
No, I'm so happy that that's, I mean, I know that that's working, right? It's always worked, but I know that that's working really well right now. The call out culture, and you know, whether you do it in a respectful way or not respectful way. And I'm happy that I don't do that.
Oh
It's
yeah,
not something that I really ever want to do.
right. Oh, dude, like I literally find myself, that's the one piece of content, the one video style I will get pissed off at. Just like talking about other people to build up a platform, or like, yeah, like shit, like calling out, shit talking, like the Greg Doucette's, or just like, I'm like, dude, I'd rather just be poor forever than try to build a platform off of that style. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, oh, to that point, this is a little bit of a different tangent, but the comment of I'd rather be poor forever in relation to having a larger social media following. And I think that there's something to be said for you don't need a large following to generate serious income. You just need an audience that you are tapped into, you know, where they ride for you and you ride for them. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, you as an online coach, right? Like, how many clients do you really need at one time to like get the nut you want? 30 for you personally, 30, 35, something like that, right? Like, dude, you have 1,600 followers, right? Like, relatively speaking, right? Just on that front.
yeah,
Um, you know,
dude,
I know that you're into the rap game, so you hear a lot of rappers talk about going independent, right? So like independent or major, and like that's the thing, right? When you're an independent artist, you're really trying to monetize off every single singular eyeball that you see. Whereas when you're on a major, they're paying for distribution, they're paying for a lot more exposure. So you know, you're getting a lot more eyeballs, but they're less likely to monetize, right? So it's more of like at scale. Whereas when you're indie, that's why you see a lot of concerts, like they're smaller, but the artist can rake it in. An artist that's independent, dude, if you have 500 followers come up, I mean, 500 people like come to your show, but your tickets are, you know, $50 or something. Granted, you're paying the promoter, you're paying the venue and whatever, but a lot of that is like going in your pocket.
mm-hmm,
Whereas when you're on a major, it's different.
mm-hmm. That's the perfect transition, Shimmy. I'm glad you
Yeah,
made
I
it.
know.
So my question for you is, what rapper is better on the mixtape than they are on the album? Or several rappers?
Little Wayne.
The very obvious.
Little Wayne for sure. That was number one.
Mhm.
Fabulous on mixtapes is a very savage individual.
Ooh,
Now, Fabulous makes great albums, but Fabulous on mixtapes is very, very good. Like, there's no competition one, there's no competition two, there's no competition three. If anybody here doesn't know any of that stuff, please go listen to those out mixtapes. Those are bangers, bangers, bangers. Um, who else? Who else? I mean, now in the mixtape, like mixtapes are not really a thing now, right? So I have to like think back, like who is a banger on mixtapes? Who
dude.
put out a lot? I mean, like Currency, but Currency made all his mixtapes albums now, right? Like he puts out just EPs like every second. So, um, maybe
Dude,
not him,
on that same vein,
huh?
Wiz Khalifa on that same vein. His mixtapes were crazy compared to his albums. Albums were probably trash.
I don't know Wiz Khalifa's catalog that well. Don't get me wrong, I know some stuff, but I know he's got a lot of music, and
Yeah,
I don't know a lot of it, but I also do know a lot of it. So,
yeah. Dude, his mixtapes, Cabin Fever,
that I know.
Taylor Alderdice, maybe one or two others. Cushion OJ, some classics.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely one of those. Maybe Mac Miller.
So I was
Um,
never a Mac Miller guy. Not that I'm hating on him, it just wasn't my thing.
yeah.
Mac Miller wasn't my thing. It's funny, like Little Wayne is the one that comes to mind. I can't think of other people besides Little Wayne and Fab, but
How Killer Cam? Did he have any mixtapes ever?
oh man, of course, bro. How? Oh my, I'm ashamed. Yo, Dipset is like all time, bro. Dipset mixtapes. I
Crazy.
mean, yo, Dipset, Cameron, Jewels, Jim Jones, like, yes, absolutely. Also, because Dipset doesn't have like a lot of actual studio albums. I mean, most Cameron albums were bangers. Purple Haze is my favorite, if anyone's wondering. But
Yeah, never.
um, you're deep on that one, right? Like you know that album super well.
Yeah, like I listened to it quite a bit, but I had listened to some songs, but never the whole album. Like I just kind of knew him from features, I feel like. And then you were like, oh, like look at these songs. I was like,
Oh
okay.
yeah. You got to get down with Shake. You got to get down with the song called "Get Down" or "Get Down with the Dipset." Get down with the Dipset though. That's on Diplomatic Immunity 2.
What a
So
great album title.
which one? Diplomatic Immunity?
Crazy.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're the best. I mean, Jim Jones the best, like the best.
Mm.
Fun fact: Jim Jones has like a decent fitness presence. I don't know if you've seen that. No shame in my game. I've absolutely DM'd him and I've said I want to train you. He didn't answer.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
on
Shim and Jim. Are you kidding me? Shim and Jim at the gym. It's over.
oh my goodness, that's crazy.
Kidding me, bro? What the collab Shim Jones? It's got to happen.
Jones, let's go. Dude,
Yeah.
it's there. No, so there's this there is a like group I'm a part of. They're called Fitness Online University, and they're like plugged in with this event. It happens across several major cities, and so it's called Ebony Fit Weekend, which I attended in Atlanta once, and yeah, it's just very big celebration of like the black community in fitness, which are like tons of fitness entrepreneurs, tons of group classes, all the nine, big seminars, that type of thing. And then they had one in Houston, and Jim Jones showed up. It was like doing fitness classes with like a lot of my friends, and they were like taking pictures with him. I was like,
That's fantastic.
that's so funny.
That's fantastic. But you weren't there.
No, I didn't go to the Houston one that
Oh
year.
man, if I was there, I would have 100% went up to him and be like, Jim Jones, you got to follow me on social media. We have to connect. There's not even a question. Like immediately, I would have waited as long as I needed to wait. I would have hit him with some like very obscure Dipset stuff that like only a diehard super fan would know.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, we need to work together. I'll fly out immediately. You don't have to pay me a dime. Like, it's not a question. Let's do
Oh
it.
shit. Oh shit.
I mean, think about this, man. If you ever get the chance, right, to work with someone that's very high profile, it's cool if you want to charge them, but I think it also you do yourself a disservice because of the exposure that you'll get.
Mhm.
Um, you know what I mean? So it's almost worth not like like how much are you gonna make? A couple $100? Like,
Yeah.
you don't want to turn them off.
Right. It's like we're doing each other a mutual favor here for sure.
Technically, they're doing you a
Yeah,
favor.
yeah,
They don't need you.
right.
So you basically need to provide as much value as possible and inconvenience them as little as possible. Because
True.
these people get offers from stuff all the time. Alex Hormozy talks about that a lot, where he'll be like, yeah, sometimes a person with no skills will go to a rich person and be like, I'll work for you for free. And he'll be like, why? So I can give you the information that I've amassed for years and train you like for free, and then you just move on. Like, what am I getting out of this thing? And he's completely right. Like I think a lot of people at first glance are like, well, I told him I work for him for free. And you're like, and what does he need you for? You're literally useless. Right. So in the case of, of being a trainer to somebody who's famous, you're not useless, but they have people that they've known for years that are deep in their camp or that they'll get referrals from somebody. Like, why would they work with you?
Yeah. You hit him with that deep dip set knowledge. And
Oh
he
my God. Deep. Give him a song lyric that like he doesn't even remember that he said.
that's awesome. He'd be like, damn, all right, let's get to work. Now,
That's
how do you think you came about your music taste, Shimmy? Because I come across the songs, I'm like, damn, I fuck with Shimmy's music taste, but it's different.
I love that's a thing that like granted not a lot of people are saying that, but I do get messages about it because music is a huge passion of mine, a huge hobby, and if I can share that with people and let that be part of my own personal brand, I want that and I love that. Obviously that's why I put the content out. So I have two older brothers, and older I mean older, like 11 and 12 and a half years older, same parents. And they were very big into hip hop, rap, R&B. from a very from a very, very, very young age, I was in it, like 5 years old, 7 years old. I was buying CDs, edited versions of CDs. I'm millennial, I was born in 93. So, that was still a thing. But I was going out to the store and listening to CDs, and I didn't even know what the lyrics were, but I didn't care. It sounded great to me, and I'd be saying it in the car and be like, I don't know, like buying edited versions. And the love was fostered by my brothers at a very young age, and it just never, ever, ever went away. So I was always, the one making mixes, mix CDs, downloading Napster, LimeWire, WinMX, Kazaa. If anybody knows these, these things used to download music from, and I was always the one. I always had music on deck, tens of thousands of songs in my iTunes library. And I always liked having things that other people didn't have. So I always loved getting music before it went on the radio, when the radio was a thing. Always big into downloading stuff, unreleased stuff, like seeking on the blogs and the forums. That's hilarious. I didn't even mean to make that joke. That's great. On the forums and things like that. Hotnewhiphop.com, Bum Squad DJs when that was a thing, and so many others. And hip hop is big, man. I love hip hop, love R&B, love dance hall. Yeah. And I also played instruments growing up. Like I played trumpet, and I can read music. And obviously I dance, like kizomba, salsa, bachata, hip hop, whatever.
Can't
Yeah.
wait. Video.
That I don't know if I'll put that out.
Right.
I probably will at some point, but I haven't at this point.
Break the internet then.
Huh?
So you're gonna break the internet then.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like
That's
the amount of random shit that's in my
yeah.
page, and just like, fitness is the anchor and fitness is the vehicle, right? But fitness is not absolutely everything. And we talked about this
Mhm.
on the first podcast that we ever did. And it's funny because as I grow on social media and as I keep coming on here, this is starting to manifest, where I said, I can speak the fitness talk, but I'm not what you normally see. And eventually that will manifest if it hasn't already. Like, sure, you see my technique and my ability to communicate fitness information that's complex in a very simple way and be cool about it, but I'm not the typical. I'm just not.
Yeah, dude, that's the going back to the music thing. That's crazy because my brother is 10 years older than me, and he introduced me to the hip hop as well. Like, just remember like watching music videos on his computer. Like, we'd be like, so this was probably like what 3 years after you. So like, I remember I was singing like the Tipsy song by Jaquan like in school in like kindergarten and shit, or like first grade and shit. And they'd be like, you're not allowed to sing those songs. I'd be like, oh, sorry, because
Yeah, you don't even know what they mean, but you're like, it sounds good.
right, everybody in the club getting tipsy. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, my bad. But yeah, dude, he had like the Carter one. He had the Block is Hot. Like he had, or no, was that the mixtape? I don't know if that's actually a mixtape or if that's
Not a mixtape. That was Lil Wayne's first album.
yeah. Okay, right. Yeah, he had that one. He had like some much more obscure, like mid '90s, like Midwest hip hop, and yeah, definitely got me into it. That's a funny coincidence, but yeah, same thing. Like,
Were you still around for CDs
oh
growing up? No. So
yeah.
let me ask you this, and no shame, because my answer I guarantee is going to be worse than yours. What was the first CD you bought?
Oh man, that I personally bought.
Or that was bought for you? The first CD that was yours that you played in your CD player or stereo?
Yeah, it was an '80s mix, like top 11 or 12 '80s songs. So it had like "Pump Up the Jam," "Karma Chameleon," "Wings." It had like '80s pop and rock hits.
So, uh-huh. And this was the first CD where you went to, oh, I don't know what it was, a CD store, a Target, or a Walmart,
Yeah,
or
like
Circuit City,
Walmart.
and bought.
Well, my parents were like, "Pick one out for your birthday," and I was like, "You guys listen to the '80s?" I was like, "Yeah, I want to get that." I was like, probably 5.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I was like very, very young to the point.
You want to hear mine?
What
Mine's
is
funnier.
what is it?
The first CD that I ever bought was the edited version of Cisco's Unleash the Dragon.
Dude, I don't even know what that is.
That's right, because you don't know the thong song.
No. Oh, well, yeah, but
Right. Okay. So maybe when you get off this, you go look this up. So Cisco was the first artist that I loved. He's got silver hair. He's from Baltimore, Maryland. He was into dragons. He's an R&B artist. He was in Drew Hill. If you know what Drew Hill is, a very popular R&B group.
Yeah. Oh shit. Okay, I found it.
Yeah. So Unleash the Dragon was the first CD that I ever bought. It was
That's nuts, dude.
yes. Yes. I don't care. I'm proud of it. I don't care.
How old
I
were you?
love it. I still love it to this day. Still think Cisco's great.
Were you like 5, 6? Like, how old were you?
I'm probably something like that. Yeah, I mean, I know for sure I bought the edited version. Yeah, I mean, I'm open to talk about whatever you want. I can tell you something that I would like to touch on. It's top of mind. It's on the topic of maintenance phases in general. And it's funny because it's very antithetical, but when you're doing maintenance phases, the degree of intensity that you bring to maintenance phases is literally anti doing the maintenance phase the right way. It's like the more serious you are about checking every box, crossing every T, and dotting every I in the maintenance phase, the worse you are at the maintenance phase. And it's so funny because it's exactly the inverse of when you're cutting, when you're massing, right? It's I need to be in the gym as much as I basically can handle, track all my macros, weigh myself as often as I can, fatigue manage, make sure my training progression is appropriate, make sure I'm putting enough weight on the bar, everything, right? All the nuances. And if you do that stuff in maintenance, you fuck yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you do that stuff in maintenance, you're not doing the maintenance properly.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's just so funny how it's like that. I get so many questions about that on maintenance. Like, what should my training progression be? Should I start at 4 reps on reserve? Should I still go to failure? How about my macros? What should my fat to carb ratio be on maintenance? How long should I be weighing myself? Or how many times a week should I be weighing myself? If I put on 2 pounds in maintenance, should I reduce my food? I don't know. You know what I mean? I know where this is coming from because that level of neuroticism is rewarded during a dieting process or during a mass.
Mm-hmm.
But when you bring that search for nuance and detail into a maintenance phase, you mess up the whole purpose of the maintenance phase, which is a programmed reduction in fatigue from your body, physically and mentally.
Yeah. I'd say like in the circles that like you run in, that we run in, people that you see on social media, people that you talk to, do you think that people are often too neurotic just in general with the whole training and nutrition process, or do you find like it's pretty on par for what you'd
It's a
expect?
really hard question to give a hard line answer to, right? Because there are times where neuroticism is rewarded and it's good and you should care. You should cross over or rather, you should turn over every stone. But I think there's a time and a place. And when you're in a maintenance phase or you're in some time off, or like your case, when you said that you were feeling sick, that's the time to just woosah,
Mm-hmm.
right? Gas up the car, relax, go get a snack, Snyder's, sourdough bites,
Damn,
pretzels.
sounds really good. Um, do you find like you were pretty neurotic toward the end of your cut? Because man, we got to talk about it. It went pretty well. You got some crazy picks.
We haven't talked since then.
Not in depth. Like we've done.
Damn. Was I neurotic?
I remember you were telling me about it when we did the first podcast. You were like, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna do a cut soon. That's on the horizon."
Yeah, I think that I actually probably was very neurotic, but the thing is that I knew that it was coming. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And so it was the normal. I expected it to happen. And I think when you're getting very, very lean, that expectation is kind of there. So you're ready for it.
Yeah.
Um, but I think as far as neuroticism goes, when you're looking to get pretty, pretty lean, I think I handled it very well.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a lot of times where my sleep went into complete crapper. I tried to, relax, keep my mind occupied, stay busy, stay distracted, show up to my training sessions and really give a good effort. When in doubt, don't do the rep. When in doubt, don't do the set. Usually it's not worth it. In my case. But no, it was the best cut that I've ever had. It was the easiest cut that I've ever had, relatively speaking.
Yeah.
So I was very proud of that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's
I'm
very,
proud of all those photos, man. I think they look so good.
dude, they're nuts. They're nuts. Like,
Which is kind of what I was getting at with you earlier. A lot of people in our space, right, when they would do a photo shoot, they would do those photos, look at it for 3 seconds, and then say, "Oh, well, I'm gonna beat that. I can't wait to beat that." And for me, man, I can look at those photos and just drink it in and say, I'm proud of that. I
mm,
love that photo. I'm posting this because I think it's sick.
yeah.
And I hope you do too, but I think it's awesome. And I'm so happy that I did that. And I mean it.
hmm Yeah, dude, that's great to be able to just have that sense of accomplishment because it's so hard, like across multiple aspects of life. And I think especially for the fitness people, like for me, I remember just like never celebrating accomplishments in my younger days. Now I've come to terms with that too. Like you gotta appreciate the wins or like what's life all about. But I remember like one of my friends was like, oh, what did he say? Maybe it was like when I got my first job and it was going really well. I was telling him about it because like the first personal training job that I got, it actually was like pretty solid, um, and the growth was good. And he was like, "Well, like, aren't you proud? Like, you got elevated to tier 2 like in a couple months." I was like, "No, why would I be?" So that's a great point and something for us to keep in mind. So appreciate you bringing that up.
Yeah, man. I mean, this is also the reason why, I mean, one of the reasons why I've been very hesitant to compete because I know what's behind that door. I
Mm-hmm.
know that once you put that tanner on, you shave your whole body and you go on stage, you're never happy with your body again.
An interesting thought. Like,
I'm very I don't know, no, right? Because I haven't been through it, but I have a very strong feeling that once you do that, because then you're in the eyes of the judges now. Yeah, you say you want to bring your best, but you want to win. I'm not competing to bring my best. I'm competing because I want to win.
mm-hmm.
So, right? Like if you get on there your first time and you win, fine. I don't know how likely that is. But if you go there and you lose and let's say you place fifth, then you're like, well, that was my first time. Got to do it again and again and again and again until I win. Or like if you play second or third out of a lineup, you're like, well, I was so close, so I got to do it again, and I got to bring up these body parts and look at what the judges said, and next thing you know, you're playing a different game. Right, you're playing for the eyes of somebody else instead of yourself. And once you give power to somebody else, I mean, you never win.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I have a client that is exactly like that. I'm glad you brought that up because I'm gonna have to show him this. Um,
Yeah.
like to the T, yeah, he got second in his first show, and now he's like, dude, I'm not 240 yet. I'm like, all right, brother, you're getting there. Like, take your time with it. That's a great point.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking of where did we come from with that? How did we get down that path?
Oh, well, we were talking about I brought that point up about the maintenance phase because I think that that's something that a lot of people, especially people who are not beginners, should really hear. And the thing about maintenance phases, or it's any new phase of training. I had a question the other day. Somebody asked me in DM about a mini cut, and he was asking me about the details about what should I do and is it okay if I do this, this, this? And I said to him, I said, man, just recognize that you're not going to do it right. It's the first time that you're doing a mini cut. It's okay. You know what the recommendations are from a weight loss perspective, right? And if anyone's wondering, it's around 1% body weight a week. If you don't hit that, or if you come close, that's okay. It's your first time. I guarantee your second, third, and fourth mini cuts are going to be amazing. And by the fourth mini cut, you're going to know how to do it like the back of your hand.
Mhm.
And it's the same thing with maintenance phases. If someone's never done a maintenance phase before, it's, I don't know, I'm not really sure, like it's okay. You're probably going to fuck up and it's fine because this is not the first time you're going to do this, you know?
Wise words from
Uh,
Uncle Shim.
huh?
Wise words from Uncle Shim.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's great to put pressure on yourself and really give a shit, and it's necessary to be your best. But it's the first time that you're doing something, or if you are doing a maintenance phase, just recognize that, man, you get rewarded for the chill.
Mm-hmm.
The maintenance phase is cool for the chill. Get the protein in, eat decently healthy foods, train 3, 4 days in the week in the gym, get a decent pump, don't be sore, and live life. And do that for as long as you need to either be ready for your next phase of dieting or massing, or until your life calms down where you want to dedicate that time. Or
Yeah.
don't and just live in maintenance forever because that's actually called life, not being in the gym 12 hours a week.
Right, right. Dude,
Yeah.
Great points. I love the balance that I've had on the podcast lately. Like I had Max Strasny on in the episode that dropped this week, and like
Mhm.
seeing him and how he navigates through like social media, school, and bodybuilding and being successful. Like there's a common denominator between what you guys are saying. Like definitely having those periods where you can like chill and focus on other things. It it's just like even more beneficial for your overall like longevity and your lifting success, your physique success, and just like overall like quality of life too. I would imagine because like you said, like that's actually life. Focusing on other things is good from time to time. So
I think it
interesting
would
common
benefit.
trends here.
Yeah, man, I think it would benefit a lot of people to actually run maintenance phases, potentially even a little bit more often, just so they can realize that it doesn't take as much as they think to keep the body that they have.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
many people they train all the time and they're so attached to the way that they look in the mirror and they believe they need to be in the gym or they need to track their macros to the gram to look the way that they look, and it's just so not the case. Now, to make serious improvements, absolutely, right? Like you have to put your foot to the fire and you have to do the work, but to just keep what you have, especially when you're, middle road intermediate, maybe even advanced or high level intermediate, it's really not 5 to 8 sets a week in the gym,
Yeah.
8 to 10,000 steps a day, not eating like a jackass,
Mm-hmm.
eating a decent amount of protein. I mean, it's gonna keep it. It is. It's just what it is. If you don't believe me, try it. I mean, that's pretty much gonna keep everything that you have. And yeah, what I found in myself, and I think maybe some other people would find this too. It's a scary realization, but it's true. When you go through a maintenance phase and you do it for long enough, and you dropped all your fatigue and you are just living life, you can then kind of step back and look at your life and be like, wow, if I take the gym away, what else is bringing me this kind of joy? Right? Like, where else is my purpose? What else is really getting me excited? You can't really see that when you're in the throes of a weight gain phase or you're in the throes of a massing phase and you're in the gym 5, 6 days a week because it's so embedded in your day. But when you pull it out and you're able to, look at yourself from the ivory tower and you're saying, man, there's gaps. There's
Mm.
gaps that I need to fill. And you're filling them with your training. But once you take the training away, I mean, dude, you need to fix some shit. And I think that's real. That's definitely something that I've experienced.
Yeah.
Um, real shit. And that's definitely something that probably a lot of other people would experience too. Because think about it like this: when you're training hard, right, you're putting a premium on sleep. Maybe you're going to bed early, you're waking up early, and you're not worried about what you may be missing or not missing because you're like, well, I got training the next day and I got to get my sleep and whatever. But when that doesn't matter anymore, you look back and you're like, yeah, well, I trained and like, now what am I doing? Like, if you have a great social circle, amazing. But like, maybe some people, they throw the Heisman to that social circle because they're like, well, I'm training, or like I'll hang out with people whenever. And it's like, bro, you need that, or you need other things that are not training to live a full life. You can't just be training all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely something I've gotten way better at, and I can like I see it for some people that I know, and I see it for people that I follow. I'm like, oh, it's gonna happen sooner or later. It's gonna happen, like because it happened to me where it's just like, dude, I squandered like most of college because I was so serious about the gym. Like I was in like Greek life and shit, and could have just been having a fucking blast, like all the things that come along with
Yeah.
And no, I was like, fuck it, I gotta wake up at 5 tomorrow. Like, I'm not going to this event. I'm like, I'm not gonna stay out, like, see you guys. And it's like, damn, well, those are memories you'll never get back. But that was a big like learning lesson for me too. It's like chill out. It's okay to have some fun and live your life a little bit.
I think this is so huge because I'm pretty sure your audience, like your audience base, is younger, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like most people that listen to this are in their 20s,
Yeah, yeah,
right? Like I'm assuming it's males in their late teens to early mid 20s that listen to this.
yeah.
Yeah, so you guys need to hear this. Like there's so much beyond this. There's so much more out there. You know what I mean? Like once you've gotten to your 30s or your mid 30s or even your late 20s, if you've solidified that this is a hobby that you absolutely love and adore, and like you've had a taste of everything else that's out there and you just love this so much, then by all means, full force, full send, go for it. But for you younger guys out there, training is amazing, but there's so many other things that are amazing too. And before you write those off because of a deadlift PR, make sure that you taste some of those things. It's very, very important. It's very important because I've seen it, man. I've seen people literally just like, waste their time away in the gym. And sure, they got muscles, but not much else.
Yeah, dude. Don't they say like you should make content for your younger self? Isn't that like something that people?
I've never heard that.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like that's like that's it right there. Probably for you and me both.
Yeah, I've never heard that. I think that would just depend on what kind of audience base you'd want to be going after.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
could make you can make content for your younger self. Yeah, or you could make content for who you are and people like you, or you can make content for who you want to be or your older self even,
Yeah. Dude, okay, let
Um,
me ask you this then. What would you have told? I'm 26. What would you have told 26-year-old Shimmy? Or what would you tell him now? It's a tough. I feel like that's a tough question because it's not that long ago, but it's like kind of long ago.
it's 3 years ago.
Hmm.
What would I have told myself 3 years ago? So what was that, 2019?
Yeah, 2019. Yeah, like end of 2019. Yeah, 2020.
That's fucking crazy that that was 3 years ago.
Bro, yeah, because like life like kind of did a weird little blip with COVID.
What would I have told myself then? Start social media sooner, that's for sure. Start doing social media sooner. And take more courses of things that you're interested in now. Whether it be online courses or courses for pay, whether it be things that would I have been able to monetize, like maybe learning how to edit videos, or something like that, or marketing or website building, or even something that was just for fun, like um, like learn a new instrument and like really take it seriously. Um, Something like that. Probably take more courses, amass more information, and put myself out there sooner.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that's probably what I would have told myself then.
What was like the barrier to entry for you to get social media rolling?
It's another good question. What was the barrier to entry? So there was a little bit of imposter syndrome for sure, like everybody has. Like, I don't think I'm good enough. I don't think I have enough value. But then it was more like, I don't know how to package what I want to give. Because like I never wanted to only just disseminate fitness information. So I was like, I see how that goes. And I didn't want to just be a post my workouts and tell you guys about creatine every single fucking day of my life. I'd blow my brains out. You know what I mean? Like that's cool and I love it, but I didn't want that to be only that. But I was like, but I don't think I have enough juice to like just do cooking content or just do other things in addition to that. But I was like, but I don't want to be an influencer per se because that's a sellout. And I was like, but I want to do YouTube, but I don't know how to make videos. So I should hire a video guy. But like, where do I find a video guy?
Got
So
the video guy.
right. So it's just a lot of those things like swimming around. And then, I've told this story before, but after I filmed that video at Mike's place, whatever that was, a year and a half ago, and they posted it and they tagged me, I said, if I was ever gonna do this, this is the time. This is where there's gonna be eyeballs going there. So there's as good a jumping off point as any. And let this be the start. And it was. And that was shortly after that video. I made my first post. Like it's so funny that this is what it was. It was a stretch under load post with me benching with a Camden bar. Go figure.
Great first post.
Go figure. So first post I ever did. And it got 5,400 plays in the first like week or two. And for somebody with 500 followers, that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, okay, I got something here. I mean, I remember it vividly. And then my next couple posts were like me doing different voices, and I was like, oh, this is fun. And like one person who I didn't know said I was funny. I was like, hey, yeah, I got it.
That's all.
And then just like, started from there.
Yeah, dude. That's awesome. I mean, you're killing it. And I think like it even if like hadn't come across you through like the RP circles, I feel well, I'm pretty sure that's how I came across you was from that. I feel like if I would have stumbled upon your content, I would have followed either way because it's just so entertaining. It's like I think I don't know if you intentionally do it, but you're like a natural at it, like the post where you're like, oh, like let's say something funny and exciting and then like draw them into the caption. Like that's not
Yeah.
an intuitive thing for everybody for content creation, but like I don't know if you learned that or if that's just like
You
how
know, to be honest, man, it's all trial and error. I just try different things and I see what works, and whatever works will only work for a very short period of time, and then I'll have to try something else.
yeah.
Like where I'm at currently, if we want to talk about content creation for a second, I just think that people don't really listen to to like details in a video. They just like drown out. But if I can make the write-up engaging, then I just send them there and I just keep the voiceover to just be like funny and catchy,
Mhm.
and have the value be driven not only through demonstration of the technique if I'm doing a technique thing, but then also in the write-up itself.
Mhm.
Whereas in the past, I think I may have tried with too many angles and people just gloss over, So I think like, you got to pick. I could be wrong, right? But like if you're going to do stuff in the video and you're going to talk a lot, then maybe keep the caption shorter. But if you want to like really write out your thoughts and stuff, then hit it in the caption, but keep the video succinct and short. So, you don't lose people. But, if I had to really keep it simple, it's like be yourself and then just be valuable. And I think so many people just forget to do both of those things. Like, I want to give the value. It's like, yeah, but you're a fucking lurch. You're so boring. Like, you're so boring, you
Yeah.
know? Or like you're funny, but then there's no value. And it's like, you're so dumb.
Yeah.
God, you're so dumb,
It's a fine line. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Dude,
Yeah.
I feel like yeah, we definitely have got the we had dude, that was like a great insightful discussion to be honest. That's like the best way to put it. But I also want to scratch that itch because I know we both got it. So can you tell me about your training? Like what's going down, what's new, what you enjoying, what's
Oh,
the
sure. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm in maintenance currently. I'm seven and a half weeks into maintenance, which is the longest maintenance phase I've ever taken in my whole life.
Mhm.
My plan was after that photo shoot to do one mesocycle of massing to add a few pounds back on to basically come up to somewhere livable, because that look, while cool, is not livable.
Mhm.
So in those photos, I was around 177 pounds, which is wild because that does not look like 177 at all. So it's very cool. Um, so I massed back up to about 185, and that's pretty much where I've been hovering, between 184 and 187, depending on what I ate that day or how active I was. So
Sick.
I'm kind of doing a deload or like a pseudo week off. And then I have a decision to make. I definitely have a decision to make if like I'm gonna mass and like get back into the fray, or do another full mesocycle of maintenance. But my whole plan was after that massing phase to basically maintain in perpetuity while I just did other things. Um, oh my God, shocker, whether it be focus on my other business or pick up just a different physical hobby and just like live in this being for a while. Shocker. I didn't do other things. I just did maintenance. Um, yeah. And so being that I didn't like take that step that I wanted and like do other activities, now I'm like, well, I just like math.
Give it to the
Just
give
like
it
fucking do it all over
even
again.
on your shoulder. What
Yeah, I'm not
what would be like
sure.
the pros and cons outside of you obviously have an insatiable desire to get massive.
I
What are
actually don't at all.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
kidding.
yeah. I get that. No, what are some of the pros and cons of like going into mass versus going into maintenance that you can think of?
For myself,
Yeah.
well, I mean, the pros of going into massing would be, now I have purpose all over again, right? So then it's back into being in a really big routine,
Yeah.
right? Everyday training and being able to eat a lot of food. And now we're back to having a long-term goal of like more muscle, right? So every gym session is meaningful instead of just going now and just basically putting on my music and having fun and yeah, training, getting a little pump and stuff, but there's no real soreness here. There's no hour and a half in the gym. My sessions are an hour, and it's like it's cool. So there's a big mindset shift. So, and the pro is obviously putting on more muscle, and the pro also, because this is a thing, from a content perspective, people love the journey. They love seeing the stuff. So if I was to say I'm massing, people are like, whoa, like, can't wait to see you get huge. Like,
Like I
huge,
want to
bro.
start
Like, I'm gonna
massing
get to
too.
200 pounds. I ain't big, trust me. You know what I mean? But like, people love it. Then you are what you repeatedly do every day. So it's like, oh, then I'll start, having content about massing, and because I'm in it, I'm even more passionate about it, right? So there is that, and then I'll have the photos of like the transformation, which does work. I get that, totally works,
Yeah.
right? So how my body changes, and then when I at the end of the mass, and I'm like a little bit rounder, and then I get shredded again. I'm like, whoa, right? Like that people like that. It works.
Yeah.
It does. So there's that. But the con is like, I don't really care to like put on a lot more muscle and like go through all of that, right? Like the put on 25 pounds, and things fit differently depending on what you're wearing. And you know, it's cool to have, every 5 weeks to have a deload where you're like not having to worry so much about training. But then it's like, well, now you're training 6 days a week again, and training sessions become a priority, and you're not missing sessions, and that's very important. And you know, the thought was to basically like do the photo shoot and then live in a place where I would focus on other things and not just continue to just push massing and just push like more muscle, focus on other stuff, because it can be pretty overbearing, especially, at my level, where when I really want to make gains and I want to make progress, like it's 6 to 8 sessions a week in the gym, and they're hard. And it is like, 2 hour sessions towards the end. And it is diligently tracking everything. And yeah, that's a big undertaking, because it's not only in the gym. I mean, think about those times when you have hard workouts. The rest of the day, you're not a zombie, but like you're 70%.
Yeah.
You're 70-80% of like what you normally would be.
Yeah, dude, that's a real thing.
So it's like you say, oh, I'm training 12 hours a week in the gym. Like, yeah, but now your ability to like do output is 80% of what it normally would be had you not been accruing all of that fatigue. Like, yeah, you have more muscle now, but I don't know, maybe you're not as sharp.
Hmm.
So there is that. There is
Yeah.
that.
Dude, that's so true. I think like for me, I am still at that point where like I feel like I don't right now see myself saying like, oh, I could not, like my default is like I want to get bigger, like I gotta get bigger.
Yeah, but you're younger than I am. It's
Yeah,
different.
so I'm wondering like, well that'll probably change. Like that'll probably change within the next couple of
I
years.
don't know if it will, because your personality is not mine.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
you are more obsessive than I am,
Hmm.
just by nature, by default. I'm obsessive as a function of what I want to do, but I'm not actually a super obsessive person.
Hmm.
I think I can let sleeping dogs lie, but I also recognize when something requires a lot of output, then that's what is required. So that's what you have to do. Um, so I don't know. I mean, when I was 26, I certainly wasn't really thinking about like, oh, when am I going to get to a point where I'm comfortable? But
Yeah.
who knows? I also don't know if you have aspirations of competing. I feel like you might.
I think I went to 2024 even coming soon.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, dude.
Right. So if you have aspirations of competing, then this changes things. Like if I did flip the switch and said I want to compete, then things would be different,
Mm.
because then I would recognize that like now there's a new goal, right? There's a new purpose.
Let me
Instead
run
of
this by you. So
huh?
like I think a large part of why I would want to compete is for like the coaching aspect because like I know like I could maybe get a pro card in like a natural bodybuilding someday, but that would be like a very hard grind for me probably, just like genetically speaking, I feel like. So like I don't necessarily see it going far, but like I feel like it'd just be a good thing to do as a coach. And like
Do you want to coach competitors or no?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So I don't care to coach competitors. So for me, that's not, like I have some people that come to me for advice, but I'm not interested in peaking someone. I'm not interested in like being like, yeah, hit your quarter turn like this. I don't care. I'd
Yeah,
rather train a hedge fund manager, honestly.
I feel that. There's a lot to be learned from that.
Yeah, I'd rather do that. I'd rather train a hedge fund manager, real estate developer, somebody who owns 50 gas stations like that. I'd much rather work with that than somebody who, is like I don't know, classic physique pro.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Dude, another thing that I realized as you were talking about one of the pros to massing, or maybe, that can be seen both ways, the way I'm about to say it, but like the like having a purpose again when you're massing, like you're so regimented and like all the energy that's required there. When I started the cut that I did, that was like probably the most serious cut I've ever done for the RP challenge.
Yeah.
Like right towards the beginning of that, this girl broke up with me, and like it just didn't affect me at all throughout that because I was like so locked into the cut. And then like after the cut ended, it kind of hit me a little bit. I was like, fuck. But it was so real that like I was just like so like people were like, oh, like are you upset? Like is everything good? I was like, it's fine. Like, I had that like perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that goes both ways, right? Like on the one hand, when you're burdened with such purpose, things don't affect you. But then on the other hand, when you're so caught up in the situation, things don't affect you. So you don't really recognize that there's like maybe things going on around you that you should fix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't, I really think that cuts both ways.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
It,
Like I mean, I know for myself, right? Like I'm a very social person. I'm a very friendly guy. How I am on socials, how I am in real life. And when I'm like really in the throes of my training, like I'm probably not as social as I would be,
mm,
had I not be so focused on that, because that's just what it is, right? Like, yeah, I mean, like I do my best, obviously, but like I'm not gonna go out till 12, 1 or 2 in the morning if I'm like hard training the next day. Like that'd be dumb. You know what I mean? Or
yeah.
like I'm not going to invite if I know that I have a hard training session, like I'm not inviting people who don't really train to like come hang with me while I train. Like don't come. I don't want you there. Like I'm doing my own shit. I don't need to like fucking guide you around. I'm not the Marauders map. It's not Harry Potter. You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
It's not one of them things, yeah.
Br British Shimmy's coming out for the end of the
No, it's not
podcast.
one of them things, yeah. By the way, Top Boy coming very soon.
What is?
You don't know what Top Boy is?
Wait, what? So you're saying Top Boy?
Yeah, the show.
Nah, I actually don't know what that is. What is that?
Oh, okay. All right.
What is it?
Netflix, you tonight, Top Boy, important. Top Boy is one of my favorite shows of all time. It takes place in East London. It's an amazing, amazing show, and they have multiple seasons of it. The new season's coming out, I think, either September 7th or September 9th. It's on Netflix. You must, David, you must watch this show. Must.
I'm
And
checking.
I know you. So I know you're going to watch it and you're going to be like, this shit is bananas. Bananas.
Takes viewers into housing estates
That's
of
it.
East London. There's tension between the drug gangs that operate almost openly and those who strive to live honest lives against the odds in the crime-riddled area. That tension is explored through the interlocking stories of 20-something drug dealer Deshaun
Duchesne.
Shane, who is determined to become the area's top boy. Oh, that's hard.
It's so good. It's so anyone that watches this podcast, they know what's up. Like
You think?
100%.
You
If
think?
you've seen, nobody watches Top Boy and doesn't love it. That's not a thing.
What am I doing with this suit? I fucking
Yeah. And also, this is coming from this guy who doesn't really like shows. I don't really watch shows.
You don't watch shows?
Not really. I mean, there's a few here and there, but shows are not really my thing because I get too invested and I like don't do anything. I just watch the show.
Right, right, right.
I
Okay.
don't like that. Top Boy's gonna do that to you, by the way. So,
It's gonna get me like that, bro.
oh, for sure, it's gonna get you like that. Yeah,
What is Zoom doing? Hold up, take me back.
I don't know.
Struggling, bro. I apologize if this is just looking like a mess. on the my whole text conversation. We're gonna have to edit this out. I can't get back to the meeting, Shim. What do I do?
I mean, I see you.
Okay. Well, fuck it. I'll just have to go without seeing that beautiful face for the rest of the time, which
Oh,
is
you can't see me?
yeah, dude. I'm like stuck on like a weird thing where Zoom is
Oh,
on a
shit.
quarter of my screen, and I just need to. Yeah, it's all good. We'll figure it out. I'll figure it out as we keep talking, man. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
You really
What?
need to see Top Boy. Also, like, I don't want this to be like persuader for you, but Drake is the main producer of the show.
Oh, bro.
He's
Are you
not in it,
serious?
but
That's
he's a
crazy.
producer.
Dude, I've just been on a big Drake kick lately. Like,
He's not in the show. He's
yeah,
just a
yeah,
producer.
but
But
that's crazy. Like, I love that he produces. It's obviously going to be
you
good.
know who Dave is, right? The rapper Dave.
Yeah, yeah. The
He's in it.
UK guy. Oh
He's in
shit,
it.
dude, that's nuts. Okay, I'm
He's
gonna
in it.
watch.
And he plays a villain, and he plays a very good role.
Oh shit, you got me there.
Oh no, when I'm only giving you this with this kind of intensity because the shit is the shit. Like you need to fucking watch it.
Yeah, maybe it'll be like my show, man. Like The Sopranos has been my show for a long time.
So The Sopranos is a lot of seasons. This is not like that. This is like 4 seasons. You can blaze this easy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Dope,
Mm-hmm.
dude. I appreciate you coming on the podcast, Shimmy.
Always.
I feel like we hit on some deeper topics, which I'm all for, man. A lot of people need to hear that stuff, so I appreciate you going there, and also just doing your thing, man. I love your taste. I love what you put out, and I think shit. You had like what, almost 9,000 followers growth between the first year and this year. It's gonna just explode within this next year. So I can't wait.
I really hope so, man. I hope the next time we talk, it's at 20,000. I mean, we'll see. I mean,
Yeah, bro.
I'm doing my thing, right? Like all I can do is my best, and yeah,
Don't
I
forget about
appreciate everybody that's here, that's following along, following the journey, engaging with me, and I can't wait to see where it goes.
dude. Don't forget about me when you're famous. I'll tell you.
I won't.
Yeah.
I won't
I'm
forget
talking
about
about
you.
Top Boy on some nationally broadcasted show.
Are you gonna start watching it tonight or no?
I'll start watching it tonight.
Yeah, yeah. I know. I mean, it starts off great. Like this is not like a Game of Thrones fuck shit or like how people tell you like yeah it gets good. You just have to like watch the first 3 seasons. Like fuck you, all of you. I hate when people do that shit. When they're like, yeah, I swear it's an amazing show. You just have to watch like the first 4 hours and then it gets good. Like, bro, I ain't sticking around that long.
That shit.
No. You know what I mean? Like, motherfuck that. So this is not that. As soon as this starts, it's just great.
Dude,
Because you know how people say that about Game of Thrones. Like the first season's bad, but then it gets good.
it kind of does though.
I'm salty because I watched the first season and it sucked. And I was like, I'm not devoting any more time.
You didn't ever watch it?
Only the first season.
Oh, bro, like
I watched the first season in like a few days because I was like, I'm just gonna push through this, and it sucked. And I was like, I'm looking at this for entertainment. I'm not looking to push through anything when I'm trying to be entertained.
dude, I got so sucked in. Like this is like I was propping my laptop up with this book. This is like a lore book behind the actual Game of Thrones book. Like that's how deep sucked in I got. So yeah.
Yeah. So you're clearly not the right person.
right. No, but I'm sure I'll love Top Boy.
You
Chip,
will.
we got a minute left. What all can we plug to let the people know if they don't already follow you or they don't consume your content? Where can they go?
Goodness, guys, I was experiencing some technical difficulties with my Zoom recording there. So unfortunately, the podcast was ended just a few minutes short. You didn't miss out on too much, though. Really appreciate you for listening to the podcast. And thank you, Shimmy, so much for coming on the podcast once again. Please, if you're on YouTube, go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment down below for any questions that you might have for Shimmy that I can relay over to him. Once again, leave me a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Go follow Shimmy. If you haven't already, go follow Shimmy. And I will see you all in episode 75.